Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to your Sales and Leadership Ninja Show. I'm your head ninja, Dean Akers, and every week I bring you a rant to stimulate your thinking in even the realm of sales and or leadership. Today's show is titled Fishing with Dynamite. So this sounds crazy for today's title for a show, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody's going, oh my gosh, what is this all about? Fishing with dynamite? Really? Well, I want to share a story, and I'm going to share a technique today that is, I always coin fishing with dynamite. So the story goes, an old guy was taking a young man out to fish for fish to eat. So they were wanting to go out to fish, go fishing and fish to eat. So they go down and they get in the boat, and the young man asks the fisherman, or the older man, he goes, how are we going fishing? We don't have any fishing poles. All you have is that box there. He says, not to worry. We're going to catch perfect fish, all the fish we can eat, and it won't take us long. So they paddled out to the middle of this lake, and the old man opened the box, pulled out a stick of dynamite, proceeded to take a lighter and light the stick of dynamite, handed it to the young man. The young man was so stunned. He's sitting there holding this fish stick of dynamite while it's fizzing away, and he looks at the old man. The old man says, "Are you going to fish?" And he says, "Well, what?" He says, "Throw it in the water." So the young man nervously threw this stick of dynamite out in the water, and a few minutes later there was a huge explosion underneath the water, and a boom, and all of a sudden, a couple minutes later, fish started floating to the surface. So now the old man looked and said, "That's a big one. That's a big one. There's a big one." They took a net and they went out and got all the best fish they could find that they wanted to eat that day. They put them in the bucket, and momentarily the other fish became unstunned. They paddled away to live a future healthy life. So what this man did showed him a technique for catching fish and catching the best fish in the shortest amount of time, and without damaging any other fish, obviously, as the story goes. But at the end of the day, he caught the best fish, shortest amount of time, in the easiest way to do it. So what I'm going to do today is teach you how to fish with dynamite. Now, fishing with dynamite is clearly illegal. So I'm not going to share with you that you should fish with dynamite. But what I will share with you is what I'm going to share today. You could argue should be illegal in sales and leadership because it's so effective. Now, it's not illegal at all. And you're going to ask, well, how does this help me in my successes with sales and business? So this is a technique that's made me millions in my career. And I mean millions. I mean real millions. And those that I've taught it to have had these same great successes. And the technique works especially well today in this era of emails and other forms of impersonal communication. So this is a form of communication. And so what I'm talking about is the handwritten, hand-addressed, hand-stamped personal note. I write somewhere around 100 a week. And the average person, when I meet with them, I go, how many handwritten, hand-addressed, hand-stamped notes do you write a week? And they always go, well, not that many. And I said, would 0 be about the number? And they start giggling. They go, yeah, I don't do it. So what I do is I really show them the way. And so I want to share with you a story. One of my ninjas, he was telling me one day, he called me up and he goes, Dean, and he's very successful, as all my ninjas are. And they, by the way, all follow handwritten, hand-addressed, hand-stamped personal notes. and they write tons of them, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But this story is priceless. He calls me up and he says he's in a big national sales meeting. His marketing people are sharing all their successes with their email blast and how they get 15% open rate, and with their large potential clients, and on and on and on. And so he raised his hand. And by the way, this guy is a top producer in the company. And he asked the organization, he raised his hand and he asked the marketing people, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" Of course, they said yes. He says, "What do you think the opening rate is for my handwritten, hand-addressed, hand-stamped notes that I sent my clients?" Wow, that was a mic drop moment. Everybody in the room looked at him and they said 100%. And he said, "Exactly." I call that game, set, match, as they say. Now, I've had CEOs go, "Well, Dean, the email blast is a more effective way." And then I'll go into their email and I'll pull up their deleted files and I'll start randomly going through and tell me who this was from and what it was about. And you want to see a marketing or CEO person go white is when they share with you how many they just delete. And in many cases, those might even show up as open on the reporting side. And so they look at me and they go, I gotcha. So what do these notes look like? Or how do you write notes? I'll have people say, "Oh, so I should write thank you notes." I'm going to tell you these notes, again, if I write 100 a week and I send them out for all kinds of different things. I'll give you an example. They range from thank you notes. So if I meet somebody, I go, "Thank you for letting me introduce myself." Bam, out the thing. Birthdays. So when somebody's birthday comes up and I've found out their birthday, they've told it to me or whatever, I write them a birthday note, send it to their home or their office, whatever address I have. Anniversaries. One particular time I had sent an anniversary note to one of my biggest potential clients, biggest potential client, and I had his home address. This is years and years ago. And he got home and his wife asked him and said, "Hey, honey, how was your day? What was special about today?" And he goes, "Oh, we had a big day. Our sales in Georgia were better. And yeah, this happened. She goes, "Anything other special about today?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, we hired 2 new people, blah, 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 blah." She goes, "How about anything else?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And she goes, "What's our anniversary?" And he looked at her and he goes, "You're right. Get dressed. We're going to go to the club. Happy anniversary, honey." Went to give her a big hug. And she goes, "Time out. We're not going anywhere." And he looked at her and he goes, "Why?" And this is when I was in sales, so this goes way back. The lady looked at him, his wife looked at him and says, "If Dean Akers can remember our anniversary, you can." The next day he called me. He was screaming at me. He goes, "You sent an anniversary note and blah, 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 blah." So guess what I did from that day on? And he passed away a number of years, but it was a big thing we laughed about all the time. And by the way, he became one of my biggest customers. Is I would send him an anniversary note to his wife at his home, but 4 or 5 days later, I sent an anniversary reminder note to him at his office, and he thanked me forever about it. So this is highly effective. So anniversaries. I clip articles out. I'll clip all kinds of articles out. And those that are watching know that I subscribe to tons of magazines. And here's just some of them right here, articles that I clipped out. And I'll send these various articles out to people. Crazy articles. It could be something about birthdays. This one's Shrink to Grow. Here's an article. This one I'm going to send to somebody that's involved with Sun and Fun. This one is... this one's about a pilot person I know is wanting to get their pilot's license. Run a company or work for one. Stop selling to Gen Z. The techniques on selling to Gen Zs. Sending these things out make a big difference. I'll send special articles. Special events that have happened in their lives. Again, if something cool happened, like they had just passed their test for their CPA, I remind them every year, hey, 2 years ago you became a CPA or you graduated from college. And then holidays. I send holiday cards out all the time. I send out holiday cards for all the holidays except for primarily one. I don't generally send Christmas out. I send some out. And the reason I don't send Christmas out, or my ninjas don't send Christmas, is because everybody sends Christmas. But I'll send a Memorial Day card. This is airing in this week in May, so my Memorial Day cards will go out to hundreds of people this week. And all it is a card I make on a photograph. I mean, this isn't one, but it's an example, and all it will say is, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day on the back, Dean. Send it out, no big deal. Makes them smile. But it more importantly, makes them remember you. So any of those things, or if they got an award, anything, a list goes on and on and on. And again, this technique is like fishing with dynamite, except legal. A couple of additional points and notes I want to do before I finish up with all of you today, because I hope you really grab what we're talking about today. This is a technique I'm sharing with you that will make a difference in your life, your career, and everything else, because it's a technique that sets you apart. Couple pointers. Never, operative word, never put your business card in this note. Never. Why? It reeks of salesy. Get just what you do is you get your note cards. Those that are watching, I get note cards. I get them from Got Print. I put my logo or my company name or whatever, and then on the back I put all my contact information right there at the bottom. So it's essentially a business card. It's like a return address. It has my address, my email, my website, my phone number, and all that on the back. So it's just a folded card. I can put a picture in it. I can put an article in it or anything. And then I have a branded envelope. And then you always use stamps. Use U.S. stamps. I actually had a pretty creative ninja of mine. He ordered stamps. Didn't have to pay anything additional with his logo on them. So that was pretty cool. But you don't even have to go there. Just use regular stamps. Never use a postage meter again. That's kind of shortcutting. And when you look at the value and return on this, don't worry about shortcutting. And then always hand address them. Do not use stickers. And somebody goes, but it's easier. I go, you're not looking for easy. You're looking for highly effective tool that'll make you a superstar, make you a lot of money, against maybe millions. This is something you don't shortcut. There's a lot of other things you can shortcut in life, but you don't want to shortcut this. And when you get really, really, really used to doing this, you will be much more successful. You have higher income. Oh, by the way, if you listened to last week's show on employees, if you're not sending notes to your families, if you're not sending birthday cards to your employees handwritten from you, not some frickin' birthday.com that you send out, if you're not sending when they have something that really went well with their division or whatever, a note to their house, if you're not doing that, you're just missing too much technique opportunities to fish with dynamite for keeping and retaining good employees, which we talked about last week. And now, as I shared, I get my cards from Got Print online. You can get them from your local printer, wherever you want. I use Got Print because it allows easy design. And then when I want to reorder, I just hit a button and they just come and come and come. It's very easy. I get my postage against from the United States Post Office. Easy peasy. I just go when I go to the mailbox or go buy 4 or 5 rolls of stamps. And it's just all too easy. And at the end of the day, it's like fishing with dynamite. So this technique and tip today that I'm sharing with you will change your life. Not just your business career, change your life. So thanks for tuning in every week. And remember to share if this helps you. And my book, Self-Talk, Think Like a Child, is always on Amazon. I appreciate all of y'all that order it. I know it's a book that's helped a lot of you. And again, if you ever have a question, comment, or something I can help you with specifically, just reach out to Dean, that's DEAN, at deanakers.com, and I will always answer. I always answer every email. So have fun this week fishing with Dynamite. It totally works. Have a great one.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanakers.com. Also, visit us at www.deanakers.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.